Hello, young artists. Today we are going to use symmetry and proportion to help us learn a new way to draw a portrait. We're going to compare two portraits by two different artists at two very different times in history, and I'm going to explain to you how both of these artists use symmetry and proportion to make these faces look realistic. I'm going to use my ruler to show you that this portrait by Leonardo da Vinci, which he painted in 1474, that was in the 15th century, he used symmetry. How the line of symmetry down her face is right there. The line of symmetry down this face is right here. Let's talk about this one. In this drawing, this face, this portrait, the proportions are not quite right. I'm going to show you how to get it just right, kind of like the way I drew this one. If we look at this woman's head, her name was Ginevra, by the way, and I'm going to use my ruler not to measure, but just to mark that line of symmetry. If I find the halfway point between her chin and the top of her head, the very top of her head, her eyes are right in the middle. Your eyes are in the middle of your head too. So her eyes line up here. The width of her nose lines up with the inside corners of her eye. And the width of her mouth lines up almost with the center of the eye. Her head is turned a little bit sideways, so that rule isn't perfect right here. But right here, I tried to line up the edge of the nose with the corner of the eye, and the width of the mouth, or the edge, the outside corners of the mouth, with the center of the eye. I'll show you how all that works with a little map that I made. I'm gonna slide Robert and Ginevra over to the side so you can see a blank piece of paper. And I used notebook paper here because I think that's something that you might have at home. And these blue lines might be kind of helpful to make sure you don't get one thing higher than another. And this paper is something you can tear out and fold. I'll show you what I mean. Tucked under here, I have this little map. This is a map that shows the proportions. So proportion is how one size will compare to another. For example, if you see a monster truck with those huge tires, the tires are way too big for the vehicle or the truck, so it looks kind of funny. If you see a clown with one of those little bitty hats, they look really silly because the proportion is kind of out of whack. This notebook paper, I can fold it in half and show you that where I marked with an arrow here and here is where the eyes will go, right in the center, because your eyes from top to bottom are in the center or the middle of your head, not at the top. I can also fold this paper this way to help me find the line of symmetry. And you can pencil it in with a dotted line if you want to. I'm gonna put this right here. This is a little map that we're gonna be going by. And I'm going to grab, I need another magnet. Let's see, I can use this one and put it right there. I'm gonna grab a Sharpie so that you can see it really well. And you should be using a pencil, and you can watch first and then draw later, or you can draw along with me. I want to mark my line of symmetry. It's gonna be right there. So I'm gonna make a little mark just to guide me. And then from top to bottom, right about where the center hole is, that's about where the center is. So I'm gonna mark that right there. Now I want to start with the eyes right in the middle. I'm going to start with the eyes. I'm going to make them about as big as my own thumb, because if you put your thumb up against one of your eyes, that's about how big your eye is. Well, what about the spacing? I'm going to use 2 or 3 fingers. 2 fingers is enough, really. I'm going to put 2 fingers right in the middle. That's about how big the space is between your eyes. So I'm going to mark a little dot right there, and right there on either side of my finger. So step 1 is draw the eyes. The shape I want to make is not like this, not round and not at the top, but I want to make kind of a football shape. I want to make the top part curvy, not as curvy as a rainbow. I want to try to make these match. and I can use the blue line on my paper to guide me. When I make the bottom part, I don't want to make it as curvy. It doesn't drop down as far. Okay, now I'm going to make the iris. The iris is the colored part of your eye. Your eye is actually white. Your eyeball is white. The iris is the colored part. Mine are brown. You don't see it as a big circle. You just see the sides of the iris. So I'm going to draw two curved lines, kind of like a pair of parentheses or a set of parentheses. And I want to make it here, like that. And then I want to make the pupil. The pupil is the black dot that we all have in the middle of our eye. You can make it right in the middle, or you can make it a little bit above the center part, like that. I'm going to make these kind of big, just so that you can see them. I'm not going to do eyelashes. I might save that at the end as a little challenge. Now the nose, if you've noticed, I've made a dotted line here because your nose is about as wide as the inside corner of your eye, just like I showed you on this portrait over here by Leonardo da Vinci. How far down should I go? Well, if I want the chin to be about right here, I want the nose to be about halfway. So I want to find my line of symmetry, and I want to make a little mark. And I'm not going to be drawing the tip of the nose. I'm going to be drawing the septum. That's this little bone that you can feel right here. And I know how wide I want to make it. I want to make it this wide. So I'll make a little tiny mark right there to guide me. I'm going to make a U for the septum, and then I'm going to curve around. This line is kind of hard to make. It should have symmetry. And I want to curve it up like that. That's all I'm going to do for the nose, is make this kind of difficult curvy line. I'm going to make the mouth next. I have a little trick for making the mouth with 3 lines. How wide am I going to make it? I'm going to make it as wide as where the pupils are, just under the nose. So if you put your lips together and look in a mirror, you will see a line that's made when your mouth is closed, when your lips are together. That line is usually not perfectly straight. It kind of goes up like this under the nose. It's like barely a little smile. But of course, that is not wide enough. It's out of proportion. It needs to be wider. So I'm going to go down just a little bit and make a diagonal line that lines up with the pupil. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm really trying to get symmetry here so that it balances. And I'm trying to get the sides just right. That's line number 1. Line number 2, I'm going to go right under that septum, and I'm going to make a little V or a curve. Everyone's is a little bit different. And then I'm just going to drag a diagonal line over to the corner of the mouth, and that forms the upper lip. And then I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to make the bottom lip and curve it up like that. So now we've got eyes first, nose second, mouth third. First, second, third. The next thing I'm going to make are the ears. That's what I'm going to make next. If you put your fingers at the corner of your eye and you pull straight back, you'll probably feel the top of your ear. If you put your finger on your upper lip like a mustache and you pull straight back, you'll feel the bottom of your ear. It's not exact, but it's pretty close. I want to leave a space, and I want to kind of go up, and I want to go down to about where the nose is. This can go at a slight angle, but not a deep angle. It'll make your chin too skinny. So almost vertical, almost straight up and down. Now I'm going to go and make the chin. That's next. And when I make the chin, I want to connect that to the ear, but I don't want to make the head too narrow. I want to make this wide enough. Now this one, the neck is really super skinny. Your neck is about as wide as the space just under your earlobe. So you want to put your pencil kind of under where the earlobe is and pull straight down. If you have room on your paper, You can go out a little bit to show where your shoulders are. Now most people kind of chop off the head. So remember, the eyes are in the middle. I'm going to pull the paper up like that and fold it in half to remind you that the eyes are in the middle. So if the chin is here, the very, very top of the head should be right about there. I'm just going to mark that. So if I bring my fingers down like that, you'll see that the eyes are kind of in the middle. And I'm not going to draw the head at all. I'm going to make the hair now. So on this one, I used a short, kind of a short haircut. All of us have hair in front of our ear a little bit. If you have long hair, then you can pull that hair back behind your ear. If you have short hair, it's something that you might get clipped when you get a haircut. So I'm going to show you what to do if you have really long hair. I drew the ears to get my proportion right, but if my hair was down and not in a ponytail today, you wouldn't see my ears. So I'm going to draw someone with long hair and go right over those ears. I'm going to go right up next to where the neck is, as if the hair goes behind the shoulders. And then I want to make sure I make the head big enough. We often make it way too small. I want to come out like that. I know I don't have eyebrows next. That's my next thing. So I want to fill that in. So it's important that you draw the ears even if you're going to draw a hairstyle that has long hair that covers the ears. You want to get those ears in step 4. First, second, third, fourth. 5th is the chin. 6th is the neck. 7th is the hair. Now I want to add eyebrows. This eyebrow comes off the head. The head is way too low. The proportion makes much more sense. I'm going to skip a space. We often put the eyebrow too close to the eye. I want to skip about half of a finger, and I want to go a little bit wider, and I'm just moving my marker up and down a little bit like that. You could draw in the shape that you want and then go over it with little marks like that. Now here's your challenge. We're going to do eyelashes, not like that. You want to make a curve like a comma, but turn the comma upside down. I will show you. You want your marker to go down and up, down and up, down and up, not too big. Don't make it too big. It doesn't look realistic if you make it really big. Down and up. These eyelashes kind of curve toward this ear, and these eyelashes curve toward this ear. You can look in the mirror to see how yours are formed. And that's it. So I've used symmetry. I've used proportion. Everything is about the right size compared to the other thing. If you start out drawing little bitty eyes, you'll have to make a little bitty nose. I want to show you how. I think I got my proportions just about right. The top of the head, I made more hair. This is a person without hair, so it's showing you where the scalp would be. This has hair. The eyes line up. The nose lines up just about the same. The mouth lines up. If I put this on top like this, you can see the line of symmetry this way. You can see that the nose and the inside corner of the eye line up. You can see that the corner of the mouth lines up with the center of the eye, or where the pupil is, and the neck is about as wide as the ears. Give this drawing a try and see how you do. I'll see you next time, young artists.